Welcome to TYT Sports. Ben Mankiewicz, Jason Rubin. We're already into the heat of this discussion, so we're just going to start it. So in a Turks and Jerks segment, which you can check out on the channel, I made the mistake. It's a cliche. That's my regret of referring to the term shutdown corner. But I said that Josh Norman shut down Odell Beckham Jr., and Jason went nuts. I mean, for the first 44 minutes of that game, the best receiver in the league had 0 catches for 0 yards, and you're trying to argue, and the score was 35-7. If the Panthers handle their business a little better, there's no comeback. That's all. Then those end up being garbage time touchdowns, and nobody cares.
You use
the
key word, if. If the Panthers handle their business
better.
For
44 minutes, what grade would you give him?
I'd give him an A+. For the last 4 minutes, when there was a comeback, when there's a game time, when your perfect season's on the line, when you are shutting down Dez Bryant and everybody else during the year as the best wide receiver in the league. So in crunch time, Josh Norman shut down Odell Beckham Jr. Does that not raise a million questions for the best cornerback in the league going into the playoffs? He's going to face other elite receivers.
Because you young people don't listen. He has been the best cornerback in the league. He did not play particularly well, giving up.
And you're giving him an A+.
I gave him an A+. Why? Can you listen?
No.
I gave him an A+ for the first 44 minutes of the game.
And
then he didn't play as well. But most of those catches, except for the touchdown, were nothing receptions. One was on third down, one was on fourth.
He had a 30-yard game,
not
he had a 20-yard touchdown.
From the slot, not on Josh Norman.
Fair enough, okay.
I believe. That was because I'm watching Beckham the whole time, and they finally moved him, and that was on the little crossing pattern. Okay. So he had really one big play before the touchdown.
All bias aside, Odell, I think, should have been ejected from the game
for the
targeting
run back targeting,
which we have. Yeah. Roll the vine of the targeting play, because what this doesn't is that he came 15 yards downfield.
15 yards downfield. The play's basically over.
To target him.
And Josh Norman got a penalty on that play.
Right.
Didn't he? They both got penalties. They both got penalties.
There was like 3 on us. I mean, that's the other thing. Odell Beckham Jr. also took the Giants out of the game in the first half, or part of the reason. Granted, they love to run this. They love to run the football and try to establish a run game, even though Eli should be throwing the ball 65 times a game. But Odell got 2 unnecessary roughness calls in the first half. They're slapping each other. Obviously, it's physical. We get that, but it made for.
He got an unnecessary roughness penalty on the wide receiver. I'm not sure I've ever seen that. He made the catch in the second half. Mm-hmm. And then when he got taken down, Norman drove him down. You probably could have called a penalty on Norman for the manner of the tackle, but I think best not to. Well, then Odell Beckham grabs his foot. Then Beckham tried to trip him as he stood up. I'm not sure I've ever seen the wide receiver, after making a catch, get an unnecessary roughness penalty, a justified one. So those were foolish penalties. I think actually the Giants ended up scoring on that drive. So that ended up not being terribly impactful. But his mindset was not right. It's rare that you see a defensive back so successfully get into the head of a wide receiver. This is a guy in his second year. He's going to be one of the great players in the league. He is unbelievably entertaining to watch and an incredibly likable guy. It was just a bad week. And what the big danger is, since the Giants could still win the division, is that we're hearing now there's a good chance the NFL people are reporting to suspend him 100%. Next week. I wouldn't suspend him. I think that's a mistake. But I would fine him and
I would suspend. I think the targeting play was brutal. I think he deserves a 1-game suspension for that. New York Times wrote up around week 7, like Odell Beckham Jr. gets targeted by, and I don't mean head-to-head targeting, not the penalty targeting, but targeted by every defensive back in the league. He's cocky. He's arrogant. He boasts. He brags. He's Michael Irvin. He's Chad Ochocinco. So he takes a lot of the slaps to the face, and that doesn't get a lot of press. Now, granted, this one, he completely overreacted. There's no arguing against it, and Norman did get into his head. But Odell's been taking some brutal shots all year long, and after the play, and out of bounds, and everything with it.
There's no doubt, by the way, that Josh Norman was. What do you think Josh Norman was silent during that game?
No, they were both. But so there's a few things I want to get through. One is his press conference afterwards, Josh Norman's press conference.
What happened with you and Odell?
I think we ended up winning, and they ended up losing. So what he did, obviously, is on display. You can see what kind of player he is.
Did you see him when he launched the helmet shot?
No, man. Only thing I see is came 15 yards down the field and just went straight for my head. Like, he was doing it the whole game, grabbing it. And I just kept telling him, you know, watch this. I wasn't trying to retaliate because I know how I can get. And it was just crazy, man. I mean, I feel as if he knew what kind of game I can play, but him playing it, it wasn't as effective as he thought it was going to be.
Norman also went to Twitter and Facebook immediately after and threw out this tweet, which, you know, kudos. A big L.
You know, Cam Newton was in the post-game press conference, wouldn't do it. Like Cam Newton, you see what you know, one of the many things you can praise Newton for this year. But I mean, going from his support last week of Derek Anderson to the way he handled that post-game press conference, which was, he started to, and he was like, look, Odell, he's the best. He's great. And Josh was in it too. And look, you know, and we love Odell, and he was a terrific player. And look, we got him at the end, and we let our guard down. Like, that's a leader. That's what you want. That's what your quarterback is supposed to do. I hope they don't suspend him because he's a great player and he needs to be on the field. That's
Josh Norman shouldn't be suspended.
No. I mean, Beckham.
Odell.
Big fine. That's what I'd go. I'd go with a big fine. Or I'd suspend him for the first game next year. I just wouldn't suspend him with the playoff spot on the line. And even though the Giants seem ridiculous that they would even still be in the playoff hunt, they are.
If you remember in the like in preseason, obviously a lot has changed since the Panthers have gone 14-0. Cam Newton and Josh Norman were fighting in preseason.
Is that right?
Yeah. Roll tape.
Come on. Hit me like that again. I know something. I'm good. Get back.
They were like, there was like a cheap shot that Norman took on, I think, Cam Newton during just a scrimmage play.
Boy, just again.
By the way, why would
like
you fight
I
Cam
guarantee you somewhere somebody wrote about the Discord in Carolina.
That's exactly what I was going to mention.
None of it matters.
I was going to mention that.
Intangibles, they don't matter. You know, your quarterback doesn't even have to be a leader. It's nice if he is. You know, the reason why, you know what, we got to go, but the reason why why Norman put up that tweet, which again doesn't technically meet the standard of good sportsmanship, but I already regret what I said about that, because elite cornerbacks, they literally are fueled by their arrogance. And I love them. I mean, I wouldn't want to hang out with that attitude at dinner or on a basketball team or on a baseball team, right? But like, you know, you need those, you know, who's going to do that? You, Weinberg? You need those guys on the wall, you know? And you need Josh Norman, and you need Richard Sherman, and you need Darrelle Revis on that wall to be an elite football team. And I love their attitude. I could never have it in a billion years. Subscribe below or above, I don't care.